Our story begins with a man pulling his sword from the chest of a dragon. The dragon remained calm, even as the humans attacked him, confused as to why they were trying to kill him. Once in ancient times, this great dragon had been an ally of humankind, yet here they were, bringing about his demise. When he asked the man why they wanted to kill him, there was no answer. The dragon assumed this must be his fate after living for an eternity, even since the age of the gods. This seemed to be how his life would end. Resigned, he called upon the Grim Reapers to take his soul to the underworld so he could finally rest. But fate had other plans. The dragon opened his eyes, finding himself in the arms of a loving mother who had just given birth to him. She smiled warmly, naming him Dolan, and soon introduced him to his father, an older brother. And thus the ancient divine dragon was reborn into this world. As a human child, years passed, and Dolan grew up to be a young adult. A girl came to fetch him one day, and Dolan was happy with this new life. From the depths of his heart, the girl Arya didn't quite understand his happiness, but when he patted her head affectionately, she was content. Together, they began walking back home before the sun could set. Dolan lived in a small village called Varen, situated at the northern border. It was a peaceful place where the only industry was agriculture. Dolan worked in the fields daily to make a living. It was a simple, ordinary life in Varen. One was considered an adult at 15, and Dolan moved out of his parents' home when he was 16 to live independent. One day, Dolan's older brother reminded him that he would be investigating the nearby swamp tomorrow. The lizard folk who lived there had mysteriously vanished. While it was meant to be someone else's responsibility, Dolan volunteered to take it on himself because Captain Balong and the others needed to stay behind to protect the village. Dolan was fine with handling it alone. After a day of hard work, Dolan was heading home when he met Melita and Albert, friends who had helped him in the past. They were on their way to discuss training sessions for the younger villagers. Albert reminded Dolan to focus on his upcoming investigation, emphasizing the constant danger posed by bandits and monsters. Self-defense was vital for the village, and they all took turns contributing to each other's safe. Later, Arya reminded Dolan about his magic practice for the day. He went to see the old lady who taught magic to the village's young ones. Dolan was talented in magic, and his lessons went well. At noon, Dolan noticed a girl with white hair. Her name was Christina, and she would be staying in the village for a while. She was apparently a noble, and Dolan was warned to be on his best behavior around her. From a simple handshake, Dolan could sense that she was quite skilled. Afterward, he focused on gathering food for his family. The village experienced harsh winters and summers, so preparing was crucial. When Dolan returned home, he was greeted by his parents, who had also recently welcomed a younger sibling into the family. His father thought Dolan might be lonely living alone and suggested he find a wife, but Dolan had other plans. He wanted to enjoy his freedom for a while longer. When Dolan mentioned his upcoming journey to investigate the swamp, his father respected his decision given that he was now an adult. He only urged Dolan to return home safe on the day of his departure. Many villagers came to see him off. Captain Balong wished to take the mission himself, but Melita reminded him that the village's safety had to come first. Lisha cast a holy blessing on Dolan, and the old lady warned him that her fortune-telling foresaw something ominous. Arya had prepared lunch for Dolan, and with that he set out on his journey to the lizard folk town. The lizard folk had maintained contact with the village until one day they simply vanished. Dolan arrived at the swamp, finding things worse than he expected. Using his powers, he noticed the earth element's energy had grown much stronger compared to the water. Just then a sound came from the bushes, putting Dolan on guard. He was ready to attack, but the source of the noise turned out to be a lamia, a rare and beautiful creature named Selena. Selena remembered her mother's teachings and began a strange dance to draw Dolan's attention. She didn't want to fight, but a large menacing figure behind her did. Dolan saved Selena from the monster, hiding her behind a giant mushroom and instructing her to stay out of sight. The monster, a muter elemental, must have awakened due to the recent earthquake. Dolan asked Selena for her name, and upon learning she was a lamia, he suggested they fight together. Selena explained that lamia, being creatures of earth, might not be able to harm an earth elemental, but she decided to support him nonetheless. In the midst of battle, Selena accidentally recited a marriage VAP, which made Dolan smile. She followed his lead, casting her snake spell to bind the elemental, and Dolan used his dragon magic to slice it in half. With the fight over, Selena was left covered in dirt. Dolan set up a campfire while Selena cleaned herself. He even cooked a meal for her, recognizing that Selena was unlike any lamia he had encountered before. The llamas he knew were aggressive and wary of humans, but Selena was deaf. Dolan learned about the lamia customs at 17. They were expected to find a husband, as their race was under a curse. Only Giving birth to females finding a suitable mate was difficult, especially as their venomous nature could be deadly to humans. Still, Selena mentioned how well her human father and Lamia mother got along. Dolan in turn spoke of his own family, with a smile recalling how much he loved them. It was a different life compared to the isolation he once knew as a dragon hidden away in a cave. When the time came for Dolan and Selena to part ways, Dolan transferred some of his dragon energy to her, knowing llamas thrived on energy. He asked her to visit his village if she ever found a husband with that. They went there, separate ways, each off to their own destination, and thus our story's first chapter comes to an end. Stay tuned for more adventures with Dolan. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon for the latest updates. Until next time, take care.